Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Martyn Sibley Show. And today we're talking all things gaming and obviously with an accessibility side as well. And I'd say a touch of entrepreneurialism too. So it's going to be a few different topics. And we're joined today by David from Thumb Soldiers. So thank you, David, for joining.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me. Cheers.
And we spoke, I always lose track of time this year. It's flown
Yeah,
by, but it was summertime. I think it was sort of midsummer-ish, wasn't it?
I believe so. Yeah, my track of time is if it wasn't
Yeah.
yesterday, it could be any time.
Exactly. But we had a really it was a very inspiring chat. So your business and your background is around design of products that are able to enhance the game experience. I feel like I'm trying to verbalize things that you'll verbalize far better than me. So let's do that. I'll throw it to you, and it'll just be great to introduce yourself to the audience. Anything you care to share, go as far back as you want, but essentially just frame it up for us what led to Thumb Soldiers and what Thumb Soldiers is.
Boy, that's a deep one. It could go on. That could be it, basically. But I'll try and summarize as much as possible. So yeah, we're Thumb Soldiers, and we have created a system that allows you to, with no tools, no disassembly, add different thumbsticks to your existing controller to to customize your controller for the game you're playing, your accessibility needs, your comfort, your mood. One of our little phrases is "thumb soldiers are for your thumbs, like sneaks are for your feet," because in so many activities that we do, you have specific equipment, specific gear, specific trainers, different footwear that you use for different activities. But
Mm.
for forever, we've used the same thumbsticks for Minecraft as Call of Duty as FIFA and F1. And when you think about it, it seems a bit crazy. And this is where the whole um, product stemmed from. Years ago. I think it probably stems back at least a decade, if not more, probably possibly two. Um, Being able to ultimately, exactly as I say, being able to customize the thumbsticks to the game we're playing. So, for instance, I often felt when playing Gran Turismo, you'd get to that little point in the game where you're almost falling off the thumbstick and you have to reposition your thumb. And I was like, there's got to be a, a better solution out there to make it more controllable, more flow, prevent the thumb from falling off the thumbstick. But it was how that was going to be achievable. I didn't know.
Yeah. Well, I think
And
what you've done there is really well define the need, right? Like, and
yeah,
obviously I'm presuming there's a passion and an interest around gaming from your side. You obviously, like you mentioned Gran Turismo, like you were playing games yourself, so you saw a need or an opportunity and I love the metaphor, by the way, with the shoes and the sneakers, because that really frames it so
yeah,
well that we don't need one standard shoe, whether we're hiking or running or going to a smart dinner, etc., etc. So I
yeah,
think that's a really helpful kind of metaphor. So
yeah.
and then so you've said the need. I guess like from beyond your own experience, when did the idea come into contact with others? Did you sort of share it with family or friends? And what kind of initial feedback did you get when you sort of said to people, "Oh, I was playing, I had this sort of idea, I want to like design something that addresses that." What were those like initial conversations like?
If I'm entirely honest, I knew uh, when I had my sort of epiphany about 5 years ago about how we could get the system to work. Um, I knew we was onto something. So I kept everything super hush hush. I didn't tell anybody that didn't need to know.
Mhm.
And I started to design development stage myself. But then I needed to get some others involved. Unfortunately, because of my background, I've got some good friends in various sectors and manufacturing areas and things like that could help. So I had to take a bit of a gamble with some of them, obviously under NDA, etc., etc., and get the ball moving. But for the most part, I didn't tell a soul. For the longest time, there was about four of us that knew what I was working on,
Wow, yeah,
me, the
proper.
missus, and a couple of guys that were helping me out.
Yeah,
And there was just no need to risk telling anybody else. So a lot of it was based on myself. But then
yeah,
as soon as we had the patent was wrapped up, it was filed, then I could reach out to more people. So
yeah,
one of the first companies that I reached out to was Special Effects and sent them quite a few trial kits, and they loved it. And they fed back what was their pros and cons to take the development to the next stage. But at the same time as this, I was sending out kits to all sorts of people, and it was all very blind. It was people I didn't know. I wanted honest, genuine feedback, because if
yeah,
this
yeah,
wasn't something that was really people engaged with, resonated with, there was no real point taking it any further. So we was sending kits to pro gamers, to gamers with various accessibility needs, just general daily regular gamers and all sorts. And yeah, the feedback was pretty overwhelming,
yeah,
which was a positive. There was a couple of tweaks that needed doing to a few of them, and a couple of the ranges got scrapped, which I always thought was going to be the case. And yeah, that was basically how the process went. And yeah, it was pretty scary, the sending out the kits to all sorts of, well, to everyone, because you just didn't know what the feedback was going to be. Family and friends will always be biased, so and it had to be genuine, honest feedback from gamers and how they felt the interaction was. And yeah, like I
yeah.
say, it was incredible. So we knew we had to take it to the next stage.
But it's interesting. There's two steps, isn't there? Because I've not had much of a personal background in the product, or let's say physical product development. But as you spoke to, there was the need to protect the IP, the intellectual
Yes,
property, through the
yes,
patent, which made it harder to get that feedback from, as you say, like people that you wanted the honest, brutal feedback. So that's quite interesting journey. That first it was the need based on what you'd experienced. Then you had to figure out the design and the engineering or the manufacturing, or those sentiments, right? But certainly at least to get the patent done, and then
yes.
you were able to have the sort of MVP, that original product that you could then start to put in front of people to get the feedback. And as you say, some of the ranges got the negative brutal, but then a lot of the other ones got the positive
Yeah,
feedback,
absolutely.
and went on. So that, I mean, as I said, we're going to bounce between gaming, accessibility, and entrepreneurship as we kind of go along. But one thing I wanted to draw out, it wasn't designed and created only for disabled people, right? It was a need for gamers. And so, like, when and how did the disability accessibility side come into it? Like, is it a thought that you just realized? Was it when you send it to special effects? How did you know about them? Why did you send it to them? So, just be interesting to unpick the disability side.
So yes, I had various products in my mind. So I had the racer wheel, I had the step up one for FPS game, first person shooting games and things like that. But I've designed quite a few things in the past for disabilities, accessibility, and things like that. So as soon as I came up with the concept of the knuckle and being able to add different attachments to it, it was automatic for me. It wasn't something that someone needed to say. It became part of the journey before some of the other non-accessibility products came onto the scene,
Yeah.
because it was just, yeah. And there was an element of second guessing what requirements there might be out there,
Mhm.
but obviously doing as much research as I possibly could. But yeah, again, getting the feedback from special effect
Yeah, that's obviously where you
enhanced.
engage the community for the
Yeah,
community feedback at that point. But I think it's cool that, I mean, of course, there's nothing wrong if a product is only for disabled people, that's totally fine. But I like the inclusive nature, that it's
Yeah,
like it's a product and people have different needs and wants, and the product is I guess, yeah, addressing some of those needs that people like myself with a mobility, dexterity, disability have, through that prism of enjoyment of gaming. Like it's just cool. The whole thing is
yeah,
just very cool. And I suppose, yeah, so I sort of mentioned to the audience, you kindly, after our last call, sent me some of the thumb soldiers for me to actually play with and experience. So it's not a theoretical conversation today. I actually had the chance. And as we also said when we were, before we hit record, I had a bit less PS5 time for a while, but with the autumn nights coming in, I've got, and also FC25 came out, which, as you know, David, is my main go-to game in the gaming world. And one thing I was going to say, like, are we able to show people how the knuckle attaches? It'd be great
yeah,
to
absolutely.
show people how simple, I guess, is my first point. I'd like people to appreciate that it like really is so easy to attack, because I think we all get het up that these great solutions might be complex and
Yep,
complicated, but the best things in life very often are very simple, right? And I'm sure that's
absolutely.
what
But the
you were
rough,
wrangling with for 20 years, but
yeah,
the
that is the
actual
hardest
output is
bit.
amazing. Yeah.
So, like I say, it all starts with the knuckle,
Yeah.
and the knuckle is basically a docking clip. So, using a standard controller, we can wrap it round, hinge it across,
Yeah.
click it on, and then that is locked in position. Um, and you have one for each thumbstick, and then
Yeah.
once they're in place and they are locked on, they're not coming off. Then
Let,
we've
let
got
me
a
just
hot.
say, David, for anyone with a vision impairment and anyone listening to us
Sure.
not watching the video, David's got a PS5 controller, and there's the two, what do you call them, the joysticks? Is that the word for the two
Yeah, joysticks, thumbsticks.
thumbsticks?
Yeah,
Yeah. And yeah, as you were explaining it, the two products you've just attached, one to each thumbstick, is a very simple way of assembling it. I'm just giving that little bit of a visual
no, absolutely.
addition,
Thank you
but
very much.
what you've demonstrated is really useful for people watching as well.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, and then once they're in place, we have a whole range of accessories, attachments. We call them soldiers to give them a bit of a character.
Yeah, is there
That
a
you can.
story behind the word soldier? I wondered.
Um, we went through quite a few names,
Yeah,
and I think, if I'm entirely honest, I think it does arc back to Thumb Wars. One,
yeah,
two,
yeah,
three, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. And I come up with the name of Thumb Soldiers, and I really liked it. I thought it resonated with, like, most games that we play. You're battling with the computer, you're battling against the other team, you're battling against the competition. So it felt relevant to me.
yeah.
But then when we went out to try and get the website, the socials, everything, because it was unique,
Mm.
we got everything just Thumb Soldiers. So
Yeah,
thumbsoldiers.co.uk.com, across all the socials, just Thumb Soldiers. And a lot of companies name their company to be able to ascertain all those
yeah.
assets.
That's so
So
true.
it just worked out. So yeah, so Thumb Soldiers became the name.
Yeah, and I agree. It's got a good ring to it. Yeah, it sort of feels like a right name for what we're talking about. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So then once they're in place, then we have a whole range of attachments. So and all it is a simple. That's not going to work, is it? Bayonet system that you pop onto the knuckle,
hmm
twist, and then that is in place. So,
I
for
when
instance,
my care assistant was helping me, I sort of explained it's a bit like a key, isn't it?
yeah,
You put the key in and turn it, and
yep,
essentially that for the thumb soldier locks it into position.
yep,
Yeah,
absolutely. And then part of the design process and the development process, we wanted to have a range of adjustability, so you could position it to your personal preference, your personal ergonomic. So this is the albatross, which is part of the rest kit, and it allows you to play with your wrist, with your
hmm
fingertips, with your chin, your elbow, and it
hmm
creates that. it allows you to use the standard kit, the standard controller, the same kit as all your mates use, everybody uses, and
Yeah,
just tweak it ever so slightly to suit your requirements.
yeah, yeah,
Much the same as pop that off, and we have the shroom, which is literally an oversized thumbstick,
yeah.
and that's all it is. But again, it just allows you to
Interact with it
interact in new
differently.
ways.
Yeah,
And even putting it on, I've played with the special effect chin controllers and put that on, which fits, which is awesome. And it provides so much more range, more surface area to position yourself. It just there are so many uses, but much like you were saying a moment ago with regards to this, we aren't a disability product and we aren't a non-disability
yeah, yeah.
product.
It's
We are just
everybody.
we're just an inclusive product.
Yeah, yeah,
So some people sitting down on the sofa, playing an a role playing game, just chilling out, taking it easy, and the shroom is really quite nice just to play with.
yeah,
Much the same as the joystick. The joysticks were designed again to be able to interact with the controller in new ways.
yeah,
But then, if you want to use the controller for like arcade style, joystick style,
yeah,
you can use it as you wish. So there are so many variables to how the products are used, and it's all about finding the setup that best suits yourself, which is makes our messaging very challenging.
yeah.
But
Well,
it's
we touched on marketing earlier, didn't we? It's exactly that. Like I think the philosophy of inclusion and the trusting your audience and your customers to know what's best for them,
yeah,
which are the two things I believe you stand for, which I think is phenomenal. And then the marketing message is challenging of like
yes,
how do you cut through the noise of like problem solution when you're like depending on what your needs are, here's a tray of options to select from kind of thing.
absolutely, absolutely. But we all know we've got very short attention spans these days. So trying to get across, oh, you could use it like this, you could use it like that. There's that option. You could change it for that. You could mix it with that and do this and do that. People haven't got the attention spans to more often than not these days to really digest it. So it's getting that information across as succinctly as possible and trying to help people like figure out for themselves what they believe is going to work best for them.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess I'd just share from my experiences with the selection you sent me. So I have like weaker hands and fingers and dexterity difficulty. So when the thumb soldier was larger, from my having spinal muscular atrophy found that harder. Whereas the
Mm-hmm.
stud, I believe you said it was called,
Yep,
is almost it's not a lot bigger than the actual thumbstick on the PS5, but it's got like a bit of grip on it, hasn't it?
yeah, absolutely, and that's that. So it's because it's got the grip all around the outside.
Yeah.
Um,
So the thumb doesn't slip off as
it doesn't
easily.
slip. Your thumb nests in the middle, and
Yeah.
you can feel the directions you're hitting, the angles you're going for, which it's a bit more sensory as well. You're a bit
Yes.
more engaged with the
Yeah.
controller and can feel what you're. It's a bit like we like to say. It's a bit like having a D-pad for your thumbstick because you can feel those inputs in the same way. But
Yeah.
like I say, because the grip is around the outside, you pull it in the direction you're going. It just works really, really well.
Yeah.
And again, it it is just so universal in as much as yeah, all depending on your requirements, it can benefit in different ways.
Yeah, yeah, amazing. And yeah, I think there's so many likely, different people, some disabled, not disabled, watching this, listening to this. And
Uh-huh.
within the disability world, there'll be like other people like me with SMA. And then I think you referenced people with cerebral palsy,
Yep.
sometimes that larger albatross or joystick has, benefits to different access needs and different disabilities. But the main way is to try them out really and yeah, kind
Yeah.
of work through that. I mean, it's just been great. I guess the founding story is really cool, and we've spoke to the product and some of the ways that they've certainly helped, can help and have helped disabled people. I suppose with that sort of entrepreneurial side, like after you then got that first feedback and you sort of referenced the marketing message challenges, but yeah, how just share a bit how it's been going from that point to where you are now, and I guess just weave that into like future as well, like what's exciting, what plans are at play at the moment, like where are you taking all of this?
Yeah, so it's all moving in the right direction, but I think one of um, it's a huge market.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to fall flat on our faces and go, hello world, here we are, everyone can have it. So we've completely focused in the UK first because we're UK designed, UK manufactured. We are UK. So we wanted to launch in the UK, learn as much as we could, so that when we do open up wider markets, we're more prepared for it.
Mhm.
And we've just literally opened up the US as of a couple of days ago, I think it
Oh
is.
wow.
Yes. Yeah, yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Which is, yeah, exciting and scary.
Global expansion.
Sorry?
Global expansion.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, and sorry, I've got a bit sidetracked there. Where was we going?
Well, I think it was partly like from those initial feedback of special
Yep.
effects to now, and then sort of now to the future, just any key milestones and sort of general plans that you've got.
Yeah. So one of the objectives we want to create, we want, and we want this to be a product built by the community. We want to grow a community that
Yeah,
feeds back what is the next product, what's the next
yeah, yeah,
solution, what's the next requirement from all our users, be it from an accessibility side that we need to create something that's like that's going to allow different people to use their controllers in a certain way, or from a performance perspective how that's going to work, or even from a brand and licensing deal. You know, it's so huge the where we can take this, but it is step by step by step.
yeah,
And I think the as we touched on a minute ago, well, some of the hardest things are getting the messaging out there and informing customers how to decipher which products are going to best suit themselves and gain that trust because
yeah.
we are a new product and nobody else in the world is doing what we're doing.
Mm.
It seems crazy, but that was part of the like again the early days is doing all the patent research and the global searches to see if we was treading on anybody's toes, if we was going to be infringing anybody else's patent. And when we discovered like nobody's doing this.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It fueled the fire even more to really push for it. But in the same breath, no one's looking for it because no, unless you've been informed about this product or this system that works,
Yeah.
no one's necessarily looking for
It's
it.
like
So
any innovation, isn't it? Like
yeah,
when there was the first MP3 player, no one was looking for an MP3 player. They were
no,
still using their Discman and all that kind of stuff.
absolutely.
So yeah.
With a wobble resistor and things
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that
yeah,
came
yeah,
on
yeah.
skip. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, these are all things that we're building on day by day by day to get the message across, get that reassurance, prove to people that this is a real thing that really benefits gamers from all backgrounds to kids to fully grown adults, people with disabilities, people without disability, everybody can,
Yeah.
not everyone can find a solution, but we tick so many boxes.
Yeah.
And yeah, just getting that message out there.
Amazing. I mean, I guess probably starting to come to a close, the two thoughts I've got are if someone is watching, and because of my audience, my podcast, there's going to be a skew towards disability, of course. Like my podcast is for everyone. It's not only
Yes,
for
for sure.
disabled people, but like, presuming someone with a disability is quite keen to like engage and try out, what's the best step for them to do that now?
Well, we've got our website and it's constantly in development, trying to get the message across as succinctly as possible. But obviously, the website has everything on there. And then we're on all the socials, uh, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and we've got various content. Some of it's a bit quirky, just trying to get a bit of engagement. Some
Yeah, yeah.
content is more informative and descriptive about how individual soldiers work and how the system works and stuff like
Okay, so
that.
there's a good amount of content for people to maybe get more of a feel about the different thumb soldiers that may or may not be suitable for them. Yeah,
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
And we've also, at the moment, our LinkedIn, our business LinkedIn page is more focused on the accessibility side. So there's more of our reviews and interviews and things like that on the LinkedIn side of things. But yeah, it's there's we're learning day by day, so it's kind of a bit scattergunned
Yeah, yeah,
everywhere,
yeah. That's cool. But
and
like you
then
say, the
there's
Thumb Soldiers website and the Thumb Soldiers
yeah,
socials.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I mean, so that community side you spoke to. So if someone has a question, having watched the videos, and I'll say that for you as well, like people listening, have a look at the videos that exist before. But then if there is a question after you've watched the videos, and also if someone's got an idea of another soldier that they think might help them, like what, like is it just a DM on the social or like the contact form on the website? Is that the best way?
I'm not sure we've actually got a contact form on the website. We probably should have, to be fair. But yeah, most of it is just like you say, DM through the
Yeah,
socials.
perfect.
We have got the info at Thumb Soldiers email address on the website, which customers often email us direct as well.
Perfect.
So yeah,
Info at Thumb Soldiers, and is it dot co dot UK?
yes, yes. So the
Okay.
website is .com and the email is .co.uk, just to confuse
Yeah,
matters.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
And
Yeah,
then on
it'd
top
be
of
nice if people have questions or ideas to be able to share them with you as well.
yeah, absolutely, always
Yeah,
open for. I never turn down a conversation. You never know where it's going to lead. So
yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
Cool.
and that's how we've met so many of our influencers and streamers that are coming on board and loving what we're doing. So little Motec, she's just done an awesome video for us explaining how she uses the product. We're partnering with I probably should keep this quiet, but it'd be fine. He'll be happy with it. Partnering with One Hand Gamer because much the same as yourself, he really gets along with the studs. It gives him that
Mhm.
additional grip that allows him to put less pressure on the controller so his hands don't cramp up as well, his hand
Yeah,
doesn't cramp up as much. He's just able to hit moves better than he can without them. So yeah.
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 Cool. Well, I was going to say, David, thank you for reaching out those months ago. And
Oh,
I
my
say our
pleasure.
first chat we had, I came away so inspired, and I've really enjoyed obviously engaging with the products and trying them out on my FC25
Awesome.
escapades. And I know that obviously that we didn't mention specifically. There's like a more like a wheel, like a sort of driving one, isn't there, when you're
Yes,
doing.
yes, yes, yes.
So there again, it's another example, but I definitely encourage people to head to the socials, check out the videos, and give David any feedback and questions and ideas as well. And yeah, just
Thank you
really
very
good
much.
luck with everything, David. It's
Cheers.
fantastic work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and help spread the word. That's the thing we need more.
Absolutely. All right, mate. Take
Awesome.
care, and we'll see you
And
soon.
you. Thank you very much.
Bye
Cheers.
bye.
Set up. Bye.